Creating God, during these days of late summer, we bask in the warmth of the sun and gaze in wonder at the beauty of the clouds against the brilliant blue sky, and wait in anticipation for the leaves to shed their uniform green and take on the hues of autumn. We are reminded how wonder-filled is creation and of the blessings bestowed on us by our Creator. As we begin our time together, we pause for a moment of silent meditation, gratitude and awe for what we have been given, and to lean into your love as we also manage what is heavy in our hearts today. In your name we pray. Amen. If you would join me in our responsive reading. This is the mission of our faith. To revere both the critical mind and the generous heart. And to witness to all.
they looked down on the ground, and what did Sadie find? She found this, and she said, I got something red and it's round. And so she said, maybe I could use that. No, doesn't have a chimney on the top, and we don't think it has anything inside. It could look right through it. Said, so that won't work. So they said, well, guess we better go on. Sarah kept looking down. Her real name is Sarah, but they call her Sadie. And so Sadie kept looking down, and she said, look at what I found this time. I bet this will work. And he said, well, what could it be? What is it? And he said, look, I have a red leaf. But could you open it up? No. So he said, we can't. There's no scar inside. Although it kind of looks like a star. See all the points on it. Maybe. No. There's no chimney on the top of this one. Must be still up on the tree. If so, that won't work either. So, okay, that's another thing we can strike off our list. Gotta keep looking. So they kept on looking. And finally, Sadie looks down, and Jamie had found something. And he said, oh, look what I found. Look, this is it. And it might have a star inside. It's red. Jamie, that's a square, a cube. It's not. It's not round. He said, but you can open it up. Look, but it's not a star inside either. So that wasn't going to work. So they said, okay, let's keep going. They walked across over, and Jamie found the next thing, and he said, what is that? It's a look, most of red, it's orange, it's a little tiny pumpkin. And it's got a chimney on the top. Could this be it? And they thought about it and they said, not quite red, but that's close. And said, well, you think that could work? Said, well, we don't know what's inside. And I don't think we can open that. So Jamie, that was a good guess. We tried to convince them that that's probably it, but didn't work. And of course, Sadie, she was looking right down and thought maybe he was like in the rocks or something. What did she find? It's red. She reached down quickly to pick it up, but I said, oh, that's a heart. And it might have a star inside, but we can't cut this one open, and we're not going to cut yours open. So that wasn't going to work, even though it was the right color, and it probably was still with good things inside, thoughts and deeds, but the heart wasn't going to work either. So they kept going, and found, and they spotted it at the same time. And they said, what do you suppose? Well, it's almost the right color. And it was a star. They had a star, and it was kind of a pale red. And they saw, there's writing on it. Maybe that's the answer. And the writing said, what the writing said? Don't give up. And so they said, oh, that must be a clue. We can't give up. But a star, it's got to be round. And it's got to have a chimney. He said, well, if you turn it this way, it could have a chimney. He said, but no, it's a star, but it's not round. So the star wasn't going to work. So all these things couldn't work. And he kept walking along past all the trees, and eventually, what did they come to? But an apple tree. They had seen the flowers of the apple tree in the springtime, and now they got to the apple tree, and there was apples in there that you could see, and they found one on the ground. Look at that. They said, oh, look, that could be our little brown red house. And it has a chimney on the top, but it doesn't have a star. Well, we don't know if it has a star. So I said, I got an idea, because this is so close. It's got, oh, it's round, it's red, it's got a chimney on top. And we gotta see if it's got a star inside. So Grandpa took out his knife and he looked in, they looked inside, and what did they see? A star inside of an apple. And so they looked at the star and they said, oh, that's a star. What does that make us think about? That the apple came from an apple tree grew from a seed, and so all these seeds make the shape of a star. And so all these things, the seed grew to make the tree gave us apples to eat, and yes, and one of their favorite things to eat was Grandma's apple pie. So they thought, that's where the apples have gone that were down here. Grandma's got them. Maybe she's making us an apple pie. But they said these seeds do all these good things with give us apples to eat, and deer the apples to eat, and other animals that like to eat apples, and us, we like to eat apples. So how are we like an apple? Yes, Max. Yes, the seed kind of, it's like a heart, isn't it? And we have seeds like in us, and the things that we can grow are yeah, that's true. But how about things that we can give away too? Sadie even found some. Yeah, what does that stand for? That's right. Good, that's love. And so we have the seeds of love and kindness and thoughtfulness inside us. So our seeds grow not into something that you can pick up and see, but good deeds. So speak of yourself as being a seed that can grow, who can play love with somebody else, you can be kind to somebody else. All these things are important. So you're just as important and more important because your things happen to other people. Okay? Well, thank you for coming and listening to the school. And I hope you enjoy Central School. Have a wonderful time. Who just said? Max?
You would join us for hymn 292.
This church does wonderful things all around the world, and especially in our community. Our financial gifts to this church will enable our church to continue our unique ministry and the service in the community, not just this year or next year, but far into the future. So we are now invited to give as we are able. Compassionate God, giving these gifts is an expression of our gratitude for all we have been given. While we may wonder if our contributions will make a difference, we know that the love in which they are given are as important as the gifts themselves. Bless these gifts, that those who receive them will feel that love. Scripture this morning, is from Luke, chapter 16, verses 1 through 13. There was a certain rich man who had a steward, and an accusation was brought to him that this man was wasting his goods. So he called to him and said to him, "What is this I hear about you? Give an account of your stewardship, for you can no longer be steward." Then the steward said within himself, "What shall I do? For my master is taking the stewardship away from me. I cannot dig. I am ashamed to beg. I have resolved what to do, that when I am put out of the stewardship, they may receive me into their houses." So he called every one of his master's debtors to him, and said to the first, "How much do you owe my master?" And he said, 100 measures of oil. So he said to him, "Take your bill and sit down quickly and write 50. Then he said to another, "And how much do you owe?" So he said, 100 measures of wheat. And he said to him, "Take your bill and write 80. So the master commended the unjust steward, because he had dealt shrewdly. For the sons of this world are more shrewd in their generation than the sons of light. And I say to you, make friends for yourselves by unrighteousness mammon, and that when you fail, they may receive you into an everlasting home. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much, and he who is unjust in what is least is unjust also in much. Therefore, if you have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? If you have not been faithful in what is another man's, who will give you what is your own? No servant can serve two masters. Either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will be loyal to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon.
Join me now for a time of prayer and meditation. Dear God, I sit at my desk and see the shadows of wings flutter across the floor, and I know there's a nest nearby with hungry mouths. I drive around a corner, and a doe watches me from the kudzu-covered thicket, and I know a fawn is hidden there. The cycle of nature is the rhythm of their lives. The sun comes early and stays late. The fickle rain comes in torrents, or not at all. Flowers grace us with splashes of color against the backdrop of green. I notice these things as I go about other things. There are days when my only connections to the season are the juicier tomatoes and tastier berries in the supermarket. But by chance, I sit outside, and the wind is blowing through the nearby woods. It is like a sacred whisper that beckons me. I respond with longing, but that longing is the beginning of connection, and a reminder that the life I've carved for myself shouldn't be carved away from life itself. It's a reminder that we also connected with each other. We are also connected with each other. Those of our own church family, those of our larger community, and those across the world. We seek wisdom and courage to reconnect to life and to help those whose lives have been interrupted and disconnected. So, I'll be honest, it was not necessarily expected that I would be up here either. About 6 o'clock last And if you know my brother, he said, no. So about 9 o'clock it came through. So I am going to read you the sermon that Phil sent me on the lectionary on the scripture that was sent. So it is in the bulletin. I think it's the parable that confuses everybody. Um, his title was Whom Do We Serve? And both of them certainly get to the point. So let me read you his sermon. When the Gospels present Jesus telling the story without a lot of context, then there's a good chance that it is something the people of the day would have simply understood. But perhaps we have lost something over time. And I see, at least one of my high school kids, former high school kids in here, it reminds me of an exercise we did. You open your phone to Google Translate and you put in a phrase, any phrase, but idiomatic phrases are kind of the coolest, and you send it to translate into one language. You send it to translate into another language. So you send it to Czech, and then maybe to Finnish, and then maybe to Mandarin Chinese, and then you bring it back into English. What you get back is not what you sent, because it does not survive translation. And I think that part of maybe the confusion is that not everything survived translation. As my brother wrote, he said, someone recently pointed out there's a big difference between a booty hole and a butt dial. Well, somebody born 2,000 years from now get the joke. All of which is to say, today's parable presents us with such a problem. It tells a story that makes sense at first, but then it doesn't. And then the punchline seems to come out of left field. The core question was the last statement. Did the followers of Jesus really follow God, or are they following money? To answer this, Jesus lays out a story of a householder, someone with wealth and property, and that man's financial manager has been called cooking books. At first, that seems pretty straightforward, but two pieces of the story don't make much sense. The first is that the man goes to the ones who owe a debt to the rich man, and he changes their accounts. He lowers their debt. The second is that this trickery gets him commended, praised by his master. And honestly, that's where the Sunday school class fell off the tracks. But Phil had better sources than I did. Barbara Rossi, professor of the New Testament at Lutheran School of Theology in Chicago, says that to understand the story, it is helpful to understand the economic situation of common people in Jesus' day. Rossi writes, rich landlords and rulers were loan sharks, using exorbitant interest rates to amass more land and to disinherit peasants of their family land in direct violation of biblical covenant law. The rich man, or lord, along with the steward, or debt collector, were both exploiting desperate peasants, and if the people, who were largely illiterate, could not pay back the loan or cover the interest, then the householder landholder would take their land. The first readers and hearers of Luke's gospel would recognize the story. They knew all too well how lenders would add on to debt until it was unpayable. This was their day's version of the student credit card with 30% interest, or the payday loans with ridiculous fees and terms. When the manager cuts the debt of 100 jugs of olive oil to 50 and 100 containers of wheat to 80, we can reasonably ask, is he forgiving part of their debt, or is he cutting out the hidden interest and fees off of what the people owed his master? There's a good chance he was removing his cut that he had added to their debt. If all of this sounds like something from the TV shows, The Sopranos, or Peaky Blinders, there's a reason for that. Exploitative economics is the same, regardless of the time period. Jesus said that his shrewdness meant that maybe, just maybe, when this man was fired by his master, someone whose debt he reduced might take him in and help him in return. And the master praises his untrustworthy servant for handling things slickly. But the praise of the master and the shrewdness by the manager are not what Jesus wants us to do. These pieces are not go thou and do likewise. Jesus points out that these are examples of how people who worship mammon are pretty smart about how they handle money and debt. But in fact, this whole story stands in contrast to the ethics of the covenant of God, Crossing, who I read earlier, reminds us that Martin Luther also warned us about money 500 years ago. Many a person thinks he has God and everything he needs when he has money and property, and in them he trusts, and of them he boasts so stubbornly and securely that he cares for no one. Surely such a man also has a God, mammon by name, that is, money and possessions, on which he fixes his whole heart. It is the most common idol on earth. Following mammon means that if we have property and money, we need not care for our neighbor. We just need to care for our property and our money. Jesus does not call us to follow the manager or the landowner. Instead, he seems to almost model them. Whoever is faithful in very little is faithful also in much, and whoever is dishonest in very little is dishonest also in much. If then you have not been faithful with the dishonest wealth, who will entrust you to the true riches? And if you have not been faithful with what belongs to another, who will give you what is your own? The worshiper of mammon asks questions like, what is the most money we can make off this? How do we maximize short-term gains regardless of the cost to the people around us, or the environment, or even our own future? And that's not a 2,000-year ago problem. We have seen the effects of this all around us. Reverend Mason Evans Clements points out that loving God and our loving our neighbors asks very different questions. It asks, is it loving? If not, is it profitable? Not, is it easy? Not, is it what everyone else is doing? And not even, is it lawful? But is it loving? Love becomes the measure of action. The biblical question is not, what does the law allow me to do? But what does love compel me to do? As a church, it can mean making decisions that do not make sense based on budgets or popularity or even what is considered normal, but that make perfect sense in the economy of God's love. In our world, mercy is weakness. In God's economy, mercy is the currency. To seek to love God and love our neighbors is to trade the questions of mammon for the questions of love. We cannot do both. We cannot serve two masters. One of these masters demands we use our neighbors and love what we have. The other invites us, calls us, liberates us to use what we have to love our neighbors. And if we are not sure which one we are following, if we are not sure what the next faithful step is, all we really need to do is ask the question, is it loving? Answer that question and you have your answer. Answer that question and you know whom you serve. Thanks be to God. Amen. So, you will join me in hymn number 278. As we leave this place, let the wonders of creation fill our hearts with gladness, and let this time in community renew our gratitude for life and the love we share.
Amen.